So in this video, we're going to estimate the value of x when 2 to the x is equal to 50. Now, there's only so far that I can go with this example by hand. Because if you're thinking about, oh, can I get the value of x to 1 decimal place in the ways that we've been looking at square roots, cube roots, etc., and doing it that way, then there's going to be a problem, because how do we evaluate by hand 2 to the power of 2.5, for example? How do we do that? Now, there are ways around it that you could utilise, but that's really going above and beyond what we need to do for this type of question. So, essentially, we're going to start off this question doing it by hand, okay, and looking at the value, an integer value of x either side. Then we're going to use our calculator to help us home in, okay? That's really the best we could do at this stage. So, first of all, let's think about our powers of 2. So we've got 2 to the 1, 2 squared is 4, then 2 cubed is 8, then 2 to the 4 is 16, then 2 to the 5 will be 32, so 2 to the 5 is 32, and then 2 to the 6 will be 64. So that means that because 50 is between 32 and 64, the x has to be between 5 and 6. Okay, so it's somewhere between 5 and 6. Now you might be thinking, right, is it 5.5? Is it 5.6? By hand, very difficult to figure that out. So, this is where we're going to go to the calculator. So, 2 to the power of 5.5. So 2 to the power of 5.5 might be our initial guess. That's 45.25, etc. Okay, so let's go to 2 to the power of 5.6. So 2 to the power of 5.6 is 48.50, etc. So we're getting closer. 2 to the power of 5.7 is 51.98, etc. And so now we know that the answer is somewhere between 5.6 and 5.7. So you could then look at 2 to the power of 5.65 if you wanted to get this to 1 decimal place. And that is 50.21, etc. So it's between those two. So that means that x has to be between 5.6 and 5.65. So it has to be 5.6 to 1 decimal place. So x is 5.6 to 1 decimal place. But really by this point you have to use your calculator to help you home in. Okay? Now, there is a way of solving these types of equations, and that is using logarithms. Now, logarithms is something that you meet properly in A-level maths. However, you can utilise it to solve this equation here if you want to look into it now. So, how do you do that? Well, you might see if you've got a scientific calculator with a button that has this on it. Okay, if you've got that button, then what you can do is you can type in log, and it's base 2, that's what we refer to as base 2, that number goes there, and the 50 goes there. So if you type that onto your calculator, if you don't have that button, don't worry, this is going far beyond the specification, you don't need to know this, but if you type that in, if you do have that button on your calculator, you should get 5.64385619, and that is your 5.6 to 1 decimal place. Okay, so there is a way to solve that type of equation using your calculator, and that's using a logarithm. But again, you don't need to know that. But we'll go through some more examples of this in the next video.